Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is hautemesstom, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, I am currently on a 6-month no-buy, so I'm spending a lot of time loving my collection for the way it is and being critical not only of new releases, but things that I already have in my collection. So I'm spending a lot of time sitting here reviewing what I have in my collection. Today we're going to fall on the let's be a little bit critical of something that's going to be released. Now, I also do anti-hauls, which is a longer form, shorter versions of what I'm about to do. But this, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from Lauren May Beauty and Louise Poston with this video because I haven't seen something so utterly makes me feel just so many things, and some of them are good and some of them are very bad, and I just haven't landed really, and I've already recorded footage for this video. Like, I've already done the bulk of this video because there's gonna be parts, and I still haven't really landed on my thoughts. So today we're gonna talk about Danessa Myricks' new launch that is gonna come out on October 21st. It's the Lightwork Volume 3 palette, and it looks like this. I'm gonna flash it up on the screen. What do you feel? Right now in the comments, I would love to know how you feel. Like, what are you feeling about this? How does this make you feel? I'm gonna read the description to you just so we can have a little bit more of understanding. So this is limited edition, launches October 21st, as I already said. There's one pressed glitter, and this is from Danessa Myricks' Instagram. So really, it's hard to tell which things are which things. There's one pressed glitter, 2 duochrome gels, 2 powder creams, 5 multi-chrome pigments, 4 holographic powders. Okay, so first things first, when I set my eyes upon this for the first time, I'm not gonna lie, I was confused, right? Like, I'm looking at this image and I think, huh? What? First things first, that's my thought. Second thing, I say, this is the Anastasia Beverly Moonchild palette, right? Because that's what it looks like to me. Those center shades, which appear to, they look like they're being sold to me as face highlights because the pans are larger. Normally when pans are larger, they're either something that can be used on your face or like designed to be used on your face or encouraged to be used on your face as opposed to the eyes. So while there is nothing wrong with that, I cannot stand when face products are put in a same thing that also has eye products or lip products. Je detest. So I instinctively, I hate the layout of this palette. It drives me so, you know what it looks like? It looks like it's Danessa's, it doesn't look exactly like this, but the large pans in the center, 100% James Charles Morphe palette. That's what it looks like. It's like these big, and then there's rows of smaller. It's like a logistical nightmare for me. Don't put face products in with my eyeshadow products because I will never use those face products, or vice versa. I will never use those eyeshadows. I just won't do it. It's not gonna happen. It's no. The other side of me, the makeup monster inside of me is like, Danessa Myricks releasing an eye like this? Like, that makes my brain go, ugh. But it's Danessa Myricks. Pause. Let's pause. I own 2 Danessa Myricks products, and I rarely use them. Not because they don't perform, I never use them because of like the packaging that they're in, what they are. I just never use them. So it's not even like I've had some quality, amazing experience using Danessa Myricks products. However, Danessa Myricks is a makeup artist that I think is so incredibly talented and does such amazing work and such interesting and unique, beautiful skin, beautiful makeup, it's so gorgeous. And sometimes it's like very minimal, and sometimes it's like outer space alien craziness that she does. So like, I hold her in high regard, just like I hold Pat McGrath in high regard, just like I hold Hindash in high regard. Like, Danessa Myricks is up there as in makeup artists that make me go, like, oh my God, like how do you do that? How do you do that? Like, I want to do it. Can you show me how to do it? That's how I feel about Danessa Myricks, the makeup artist, and the makeup artist, the work. So I'm like, well, if she's using this, then this is a tool that I certainly need. So I have like two very polarizing thoughts on this. And so what I've done and what we're gonna do in this video, this isn't all intro. This is just like, don't you think that that's like all the intro? But I guess it kind of is, but that was just like my initial thoughts when I saw it. And then secondary thoughts, and then tertiary thoughts is where we're gonna land right now. So what I did last night, I tried duping it out to the best of my ability. I have a large Clionadh Cosmetics collection, lots of the stained glass collection, lots of multi-chromes, lots of shimmer pigments. I have a lot of that in my collection. And I was like, well, I'm gonna dupe this out to the best of my ability. So I did. So I like put everything together, and we're gonna cut to that. And then I also applied them. And I'm going to tell you now where I landed. It's at best, in my opinion, this product that's coming out is a companion palette. I think for normal people who are not working makeup artists, so people like you potentially and like me, I don't think we're gonna get a lot out of use of this specifically. And why I feel that way is because this looks like it's for professional use. And that's not always a bad thing. That doesn't always mean that like for consumer use, I don't think it's gonna perform badly. That's not my thought at all. It's just a lot of people would throw a couple mattes on their eyes and then throw a multi-chrome on to like really punch it up. You know what I'm saying? I just feel this, it feels like a companion palette. And I feel like a lot of people don't really want to have two eyeshadow palettes in front of them. And I get it, because it's like not my inclination either. I've been doing it more and more, especially as I've been loving my collection as it is. I did this look with the Hindash palette, and then also one of my Clionadh singles. So like, yeah, I dip and go into different places, but it's overwhelming. So I can imagine like, and when I say the lame person, I don't mean like you're lame, but just like the regular person isn't gonna like fuss with this. So my goal was to create a dupe, and then like if I tried to use as much of this as I could on my face, what would my face look like? And so that's where we're going. That's the journey we're gonna take. I also will say, I had a very long day of filming, and somehow this Danessa Myricks footage ended up being recorded at the end of my day. So I'm a little bit tired, and I think you're gonna be able to read that energy in it. So just know that I'm apologizing for that now. And when I was recording my selecting the dupes in my overhead shot, I realized I wasn't recording, or I realized I had stopped recording about 10 minutes in, and I had selected 4 of the shades. So you're kind of gonna jump right into those 4 shades already being selected, and then moving on from there. And then we'll move on to me trying to apply it, which again was frustrating because I tried doing something different, which at 8 p.m., I'm very much a morning person. I'm filming this in the morning. I don't really thrive that late at night, but I was like on a roll, and I like wanted to get it done. And so I just like kind of powered through. And so I tried doing like some more extravagant makeup, because of course because I feel like this palette inspires something extravagant. And so that's what I tried to do. So I'm gonna cut to that, and I will see you here in a moment. Okay, so I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So I've made some momentum. I'm gonna catch you up, as opposed to pretending I haven't already recorded this. So I pulled up, so far, I pulled up Danessa Myricks' new palette. It's $125. I probably already talked about all of this to you already. So my first focus was these center shades, because they reminded me of the Moonchild palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. They look like duochrome highlights, right? They're definitely, the pans are bigger. They seem to be a highlight. That's how I'm reading into it. And so I did some swatching with my Clionadh shades, and I've come up with 3, because it looks to me that there's a green one, a blue one, a pink one, and a gold one. For the gold one, this is from Natasha Denona's gold palette. I don't know the name of the shade, because my gold palette is a little tore up from the floor up right now, but that's like the gold highlight that I came up with. And if I'm smart, I'll post the name of that particular shade. This is the one I decided for the blue. This is from Cleona, and it is the shade Glow. I have so much sparkle on my hands, I've been swatching a lot of things. This is the blue one. For the pink highlight, I went with the shade Gleam from Cleona. It's right here on my wrist. And then for the green shade, I went with Glint from Cleona. Cool, so I wanted to get the center shades out of the way because honestly, well, no, these are beautiful shadows, but the highlighting aspect of it is kind of the least compelling part to me. So there's that. We have those 4 center shades. Now we can have more fun with some other things. I am gonna wash this hand off. I just feel like I don't have a good gauge on this. Like, I'm so intrigued by it, but I can't tell which things are which thing. Because it's like, I think the top one is the multi-chromes. However, I'm actually gonna do more multi-chromes. So we are gonna look for some dupes. And the first shade is Polaris. I'm gonna like try to zoom in so you can see it. It looks like these shades down here. That feels like a little bit redundant. However, I do have this beautiful flaky one from Cleona that I think I really want to put in. It is the shade it's the shade Gilding, and it is like more flaky than the other Cleonas. It just is. Like, look, she's PC. And of course my arm's already glittery, but I hope you can see that. I'm gonna put that there instead of Polaris because I really can't get a gauge on like what it's supposed to look like, and I'm creating my own palette. So the next shade is Galaxy. It looks like a purple blue shift. And so I see 2 shades. I'm going to try to pick these up so hopefully we can get the shade. Hopefully we can, let me turn one of these off actually. So then we can hopefully see the shifts in them a little bit better. So at first I saw this one, but this one's definitely more green. So I think this one right next to it is gonna be the move. This one right next to it. So let me get that out so I can get you a shade name. This is the shade Oculus, which I kind of think is a very good option so far from what we've seen. I also wanna take this one, not that one, but this one. This one's really pretty as well. Hold on, let's take a look at these side by side. Oh. This one shifts less. Okay, so when I'm looking at it, it definitely looks more like the first shade I grabbed, which is the shade Oculus. Hopefully you can see. Hopefully you can see the shift. It's really hard with multi-chromes and filming, I'm learning. And the next shade is the shade Martian. It seems to be like a slight blue to pink, which I'm certain that I have. And so let's go back to, we're gonna put that one up there for now because I think we're pretty much done with that one. Okay, so I can't really tell which blues shift to pink and which pinks shift to blue. So we're just gonna have a little bit of a swatch party. We're gonna start with that one. We're gonna go into that one. We're gonna take a look at this one. None of them are shifting too hard, but I think the second one is shifting pink just a bit, or it's just other things on my finger got into it. But can you see that pink in the center? I think that's the one. I think that pink is just where the light's hitting it. It feels very Martian-y to me. So it's this one. This is the shade Lineage from Cleona Cosmetics. So then we have this gold shade that is just called Soul. It looks a lot. I'm gonna pull all of these from my Cleona because I just think that this is, I don't think this is a multi-chrome. I mean, that's pretty spot on. That's what it looks like to me. So let's get her out of there. Okay, this is the shade that we just pulled. It is the shade Burnish from Cleona. And then we have Orion, which from what I can see, that appears to be the loose glitter, but we're not doing all of that. I do have some pretty blue shades. Actually, this one down here is very pretty and glittery. It's not a loose glitter, but it's very pretty. I also have this blue up here. Well, it's more of a teal. I think for my purposes, I like this one down here. We're gonna say this is more inspiration than exact duping. That's the shade Crown Jewel. Again, we're talking only about Cliona. All right, so we have the first row, the second row, and then the bottom row is what we're gonna work on next. And Spacesuit is the next shade. It is this like orangey shade. Ooh, it's like a weird texture looking. It looks like a planet. So when I look at that, I actually thought of this Natasha Denona shade, which is a shimmer and not like, you know, a Cliona shade. And I think it has some similar vibes. Because anything that I have in the Cliona is gonna be like way too piecey and not as smooth. Well, not always, but I think my orange shades here, they are definitely more like piecey. They're gonna miss on the assignment. I think so. So I actually think I'm gonna take this. This is from the Sunset palette. And then we have the shade Aurora, which seems to be like a beautiful purple. Like, well, purple pink. I have this shade. This is from last year's Mother Mega Ship palette from Pat McGrath. I mean, that seems to fall in line. I kind of like that. Let me just swatch some more Cliona. I don't know, the Pat McGrath one feels truer to the palette. So I depotted my Mother Mega Ship, so I have no idea what this shade is, but it's from the Mother Mega Ship last year. Then we have the shade Gaia, which is like, looks like it's really textured and beautiful. So I'm gonna set this palette aside and go back into this guy. My first instinct is to look at this one, but I think that's gonna be too, yeah, it's gonna be too orange. Yeah. But then this one right next to it sings to me quite loudly. But maybe not the move, because it has some pink in it. But honestly, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, I'm inspired by this Danessa Myricks palette and also just like overwhelmed. That's the shade Forge from Cliona. Solar Rain looks like almost like a highlighty, shade. So there's this shade from Pat McGrath, and it's not gonna be Nail on the Head, but I think it's called Pale Fire. It was sold as a single. I remember that. It's like right here on my arm. And that like has the same vibes to me. It's not like the perfect dupe by any means, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the inspiration. And then there's this black shade, which it's kind of eluding me. Like, I have this blackened purple from the Mothership Mega, and I think that's probably the closest I'm gonna get in my singles. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Okay, so here is my little petite version of the new Danessa Myricks palette. Let me go put this on so we can see what we can do with it. All right, I had some dinner and now I'm ready to put on makeup. So let's play with my little version of the Danessa Myricks palette that has a name, I'm sure, which will probably be in the title of this video. But do I know it off the top of my head? No. Again, I think I've said this already, but like, I don't even know that I like the idea of this palette. It just is like, I don't know. So here's what my palette looks like in this light over here, because we have some multi-chromes in there. It's a different journey, right? What my personal goal is to try to get as many of these in my look today as I can. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to achieve that, but we're gonna try. So, my first thought is to do like a bitchy wing, like to do something bitchin', like a bitchin' little wing. So I have the orb from Ritual Defeat, which I don't think it's a product that I really enjoy. They call it they call it one of the blackest of blacks, and it just like isn't that. It's also not really good for like eyeshadow base either. So it just really doesn't serve a purpose for me. But I just packed the makeup I want to take to Chicago, and it has a black eyeliner that I like more than this in there. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is something like this, and then we're just gonna take it flat. We'll go all the way to the hairline because drama. Okay, that was very frustrating. Okay, so let's actually start playing with the palette. I hope I zoomed through that like fast enough that it was like not really that bad to watch. So we're gonna start playing with it. So what I think I'm gonna do is use these two blue shades, one on the lower wing and then one on the upper wing closer to the center. So I'm going to use this shade that I pulled right here on the top one, and then I'm going to use this shade on the bottom one. And then on the lower wing, I'm going to put this shade on the outside, and on the upper wing, I'm going to put that shade on the outside. I think I'm gonna fill the void. I'm gonna fill it with this like blue highlighty shade just to see. I don't know, why not? Let's give it a try. We're here. All right, so I'm gonna put some foundation and such on, and I will be right back. Okay, so my game plan is I'm gonna use both of these as blushes. I'm gonna keep the purple closer to the back of my, like where my back up here, and then put the pale fire shade closer to the front, the apples. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but like let's find out, because we're on a journey. We're on a journey. I hope you, I mean, like, my vibe feels very off, but like I also, well, I've done looks that are like more intense like this before. I've never like done them on camera, and I think it's like really throwing me. But I also really like where we're at. Like I do. I always end up liking one eye better than the other. We're kind of looking clownish, but I kind of like it. And then I'm gonna take the, like the pink highlight, this one. I'm asking to do a do as I say, not as I do. I have no idea if any of these pigments are lip safe, but we're gonna be playing with them on my lips. Okay, now that we've got that straight, we all know what's going on. This is a Pat McGrath liquid lipstick from her original, like her OG lipstick collection. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this flaky shade I put up here, which is like nothing like the shade that was in the palette that I like put it in. But I just think it'd be a very cool effect on the lips. So this is like the little look that I put together. She's chic, she's runway, she's haute couture. Honestly, this is like better than I thought I was gonna come up with. However, even though like I wouldn't say I like nailed this color story and like got the right textures of everything, I don't think this Danessa Myricks palette would be really for me because when I look at it, I'm overwhelmed. And then as I was playing with it, I even got overwhelmed. Like these are like weird things that are just kind of like put together in one palette. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be great for like a makeup artist, which Danessa Myricks is. I think probably it's the best for a makeup artist. However, I feel like consumers are gonna buy this because they're like, oh yeah, I'm very inspired by that. And I can understand being very inspired by this at the beginning, like seeing it and being like, oh yeah, that's like so freaking cool. Like that's so dope. I wanna play with it. And I can understand, like, my instinct would be like, I wanna play with that, but not like I want to own that. And that's kind of where I landed on this. I don't know, this palette overwhelms me, that palette, but you know, it did inspire me to like kind of do something a little bit different. It did encourage me to use shadows and colors in places like where I wouldn't normally. Is this the best look I've ever done? No, but it was, I only want to say that it was fun because I did graphic liner, I did like some stuff that was different, and it was a little bit frustrating to put on, and I was already like a little bit irritated, so I don't know that I had like the most fun putting this look together, but I do appreciate that I felt like I was being pushed to do something, because I feel like if I tried to do a very simple blown out look, how am I gonna do that? Where am I blowing things out with? Everything in here is like something dramatic. Now you can definitely put multi-chromes on your lid and just blend them out, but like, why would you buy a whole palette? I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. Anyway, okay, so that was kind of my experience like trying to work with a similar color story. And it didn't really satisfy my craving, but I would never, I think it more or less frustrated me. So I think if I bought this palette, it'd be one of those things that I think is very beautiful and sits in my collection. It'd be like, man, I really should use that more. And that's just all I would ever do, is I would always think, man, I should really use that more. And I think that's all it would be. That's all I would ever say about it. It would just be like, I really should use that more. And then I just wouldn't. Like, I think that is my truth. That is my reality, is that it's something very, I know it's beautiful. I know it's very inspiring, but because of what I would want to do every time I use it, I'd be overwhelmed by it. So it just isn't something that I would use. On the flip side, on the pros, if you are someone who doesn't want to try to buy single multi-chromes and you want to try a lot of different formulas and pigments, I think in the grand scheme of things, this is a good way to get quality product at a lesser cost. Now, $125, I understand it's not cheap at all, but you have about 14 shades in there. Those shades in indie brands are gonna cost between like $15 and $25 per shade. Yeah, so this is definitely less than going indie, even though I kind of consider Danessa Myricks an indie brand, even though she's in Sephora. So I could see this being a very great option for some people. And so if it is a great option for you and you think you're gonna get that and like your hands are always gonna be in it, brushes, touching, fingers, oh, you know, if you're gonna like do all of that, excellent. I'm so excited for you. But for me, this is like very overwhelming and is just like not the way I would want to experience my multi-chromes, because you know what? I have so many beautiful singles that I can just bust out one multi-chrome at a time whenever I really want to use it, or a couple if I really want to use them for a look. And that's what I will continue to do. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it this far, I would really like to hear from you and your thoughts on this video, or, you know, how do you feel about this Danessa Myricks palette? If you would like some more nuanced opinions from this nuanced baguette, the only way to do that is to subscribe to this channel. We're all about nuance here. If you like my voice and want to hear more of it, I am on 3 different podcasts. Those links are located in a link tree. Can you believe it? In my description box below. And if you would like to look at me more, well, I have an Instagram. It's also in that link tree, so you can find it there. Thank you so much again for watching this video. I will see you in my next one. Friends.